boys, bitch, you better bow down. Crowd just wanna hear the show, start the countdown. Don't be messing around, we ain't chasing no clout. Better shut your ass up before we put your ass down. Might get lumped up, taking verbal bumps, chump. We don't ever bite tongues, always keeping it a buck. Dan, Joe, and Will, they gon' change the game. Bump Boys podcast, it'll melt your brain. Y'all don't wanna see the flame, so don't spark the match. We like rookie Kurt Angle, make your ankle snap. Three amigos like Eddie, but don't lie or steal. Only cheat when we gotta, but to win we will. Mike skills like Dusty, but go hard like Brock. I'm a stunner like Austin, dropping elbows like Mach. Y'all don't wanna see the finish, cause it's us on top. 1, 2, 3, get the V and get a warrior pop. Yo!
What's going on, guys? This is Joe from the Bump Boys. I got Dan and Will here, and I got a couple of guests, as you can see. So, Dan and Will, you guys have anything you want to say to start off the show?
I'm Swagabomb92. Welcome to our show.
Mr._Wolves95 King William, and we are here. We have the Queen's Takeover. Ladies, if you guys want to introduce yourselves, feel free.
I'm Kat Robinson. You can find me on Twitter. My nickname is the Texas Sports Queen, and obviously with the name and everything, of course, I'm down in Texas, representing the H.
I'm Kayla, and I'm known as the Carolina Boss Lady, and you can find me on Twitter at Writer Chaos.
And I am the lovable, deplorable, and asshole-ish jester. Either I go by Jolie or JT. You can find me at JT Productions. I think it's 89 for Twitter. But if you don't like Stan accounts, don't follow me because I am an asshole to everybody. I finally got blocked by a writer from Legacies because I called them out on their shit. Yeah, so don't fuck with me because I will call you out on your shit. So
one thing
He's been on a big legacy kick.
We're almost like doppelgangers of each other. You can kind of tell whose personalities are very similar to each other's, which I love. That's why the collab is amazing, because it's almost like the we're the male version and then they're the female version, vice versa, which I love. But Joe, take it away.
Definitely. So, if you guys are looking to follow them, definitely give them a follow there. And you can always find them at the Queen's Takeover on Twitter. Check out their anchor as well. We'll have all that down in the description. But let's start off with how you guys came about. We all live near each other. How did you guys know each other, and how did you guys end up meeting up and creating this Queen's Takeover together?
I can actually answer that. My best friend was following Kat on Twitter, and she said, you need to follow her. She's got pretty cool content. And so started following Kat, and then Kat introduced me to Kayla, and we were a part of a different organization. And I said, it was the start of the pandemic. I'm like, hey, do we want to start a podcast for shits and giggles? And they said, yup. So I started it, but it was all because of what my best friend followed Kat. That's how she and I met. Because I think she found her through Steffi Hypes, I believe. Because if you're in Stan Wrestling Twitter, Steffi Hypes is probably one of the nicest people to follow. And the fact that I had that she has to have people defend her because people are dicks towards her. Mr. JD Storms, or whatever the hell you call your DJ Storms, fucking prick. I swear to God, I would love to just beat the shit out of him and JD from New York. Those are the two biggest fucking assholes in all of the internet wrestling community. And I think if we got rid of them, it would be a less toxic place.
Oh yeah, JD from New York
sure.
is an asshole.
Bro.
So
you guys ended up coming together. Did you guys originally think you guys were going to be doing podcasts and reviews together, or did that conversation just come up randomly one day and it was like a shot in the wind? Or
Well, I mean, when we started the podcast and everything, we definitely wanted to just try to keep it, because everyone has like their own feel, like what they do. Because a lot of guys do reviews. They go back in the day with the pay-per-views. They do a lot of top 10s and everything like that. We definitely wanted to kind of keep it current with what was going on that week. kind of like a reviews and like with the starting with our own weekly reviews. And then when we got to the pay-per-views, predictions, recaps afterwards. And then we started really getting into like the indie wrestling scene a little bit. We've had like promoters on our show. We've had indie wrestlers, East Coast, West Coast, up north, down in Florida, some in Texas here and everything. So
Australia,
UK. We've had people from Canada on. So yeah, we've been all over the place.
And then going back to where you said where you had everyone all over, I think Danny's going to talk about that pretty soon. But how has it been from your first ever recording all the way to like now? Like what changes have you seen like just in your production in general? Like what's something that you're very proud of that you didn't see yourself doing whenever you first started?
Kayla, you want to take that?
Probably talking, because I'll be the first to admit I really don't like talking on the phone. And if you actually get me to answer the phone, I must really like you, because Dan can vouch for that sometimes. Like when he calls me, he's like, "Why didn't you answer my phone call?" Sorry, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm not a phone person. So,
That was in the beginning. You're not as bad now.
It's not bad. I mean, if I really care about you, I'll answer the phone. But I guess I was kind of nervous, well, obviously we were just audio, but you can, sometimes mess up and different things, but I'm just not as nervous now. Maybe once we start going like really live and stuff, like right now I'm kind of nervous because I know people's going to see what I look like, but hey, it's okay. But I'm not nervous. And, the more I got to, became, doing this longer, Jolie and Kat became two of my best friends, and it's just like I feel more comfortable at first, it's just like just a big old family. So I just feel like, more comfortable, more relaxed. I feel like we only do it once a week, unfortunately, due to our schedules. But I could have like the worst week at work and then get on Sunday and I say, I get to see Kat and Jolie, just to talk, about stuff we like. It's like a highlight. So it's definitely come a long way. Just not as nervous as I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And I know I love how you said that you weren't originally like comfortable on screen with camera. I know me and Will, we've done this a long time, multiple channels, stuff like that in the past. And this is the first time Dan has done footage too. So
it's like we've had some crazy up and downs on our show. Like in the very beginning, like I used to get kicked out of channels a lot because my laptop was so bad. My old MacBook was so slow that like it would kick me out of like, because we were originally on StreamYard, but StreamYard was way too expensive. We tried StreamYard in the beginning and it was just like we had a giant StreamYard logo in the corner and it was just annoying. So we had to like get rid of it. So I said, let's try Zoom, and it was just a lot better. Like,
took it from there, basically.
Yeah.
So
so my topic for you guys is, what are some ups and downs from the wrestling content creator? What were some of your ups and downs you have with it trying to like voice? Like, I know for me, sometimes like, it's like you get burnt out from either too much of it or you just don't want to do it this week, but you have to because you got to be on the show.
Well, for me, it's like I haven't been watching TV a lot. I mean, today's like the most I've actually had my TV on regular. It's normally my laptop is hooked up so I can do editing or watch the movies that I have downloaded on my hard drive, or I'm playing Xbox. I don't like having my TV on because of everything that's going on in the world. And I just get drained out because of that. But with the wrestling, I'll be completely honest, I have not watched a full episode of Raw or SmackDown or NXT. I just watch clips just because I have been just burnt out. And it's the sad thing is it's the community online that is burning me out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the constant hate and the constant fighting. And like in our, like, when I go on my rants, and you can listen to my famous rants on our episodes, I will go off on anything.
I love those rants, by the way.
Thank you. But it's just like when you go through all that, it's just it is draining. But those rants are because of everything I'm feeling because of online. So watching wrestling, it's so hard to not get burned out. But then the one thing that always draws me back in, and it's not WWE, it's not AEW, it's guys like Jay Bougie and PJ Savage and oh my God, just so many people we've had on our show. D-Rogue and Marco. I love Marco. Marco is somebody I met before we had him on our show, but he's like, he had the big queer wrestling out in the West Coast with D-Rogue. Mm-hmm. And I knew him from a gay group on Facebook that's, LGBT wrestling fans. It's like, I fucking like that, watching the indies guys, that's what sparks my love, even though I don't get to go to the shows or watch it, getting to interact with them and like, try to start little feuds with people between the wrestlers. Like, I think we have, I think Rev came for me, but I was gonna set PETA on him, but I didn't.
Backstory behind that. Last week on our show, we had 3 of the members of Takeover. They're out of New York and everything. It's Jay Bougie, P Savage, and the faceless ones, Jacko and Face. We had 3 of them on last week. And they have a big event coming up on May 20th with Invictus Wrestling when they're going against Shane Taylor Productions. Mm. And so we had them on last week, and it was like long. It was a long ass episode, but it was a lot of fun. And when I sent out the tweet, I said, "Rebuttal's welcome." And Rev said, "Sign me up." So if everything works out, we'll have them on in a couple weeks and everything. So, but yeah, it's like the indie guys bring so much fun and energy and everything. And when, like, for me, sometimes I fall behind on wrestling and everything, only because either work schedules or like lately with all the sports playoffs and everything, it's like I get behind, but I also catch up on Twitter myself too and everything. I'm also in the position, unfortunately, those two aren't, the other girls aren't and everything, because a lot of the indie promotions, they've been having some of the stuff we've sponsored has been in Texas. So I've been able to go to a lot more shows than they have and everything. And so, so it's like my energy's been a little bit more up. I just fall behind sometimes because of other shit going on.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So with your overall, like, making your content, have you guys found out different things that have been difficult, as like a mechanical part, such as like, when we first started, we used, StreamYard, and that didn't work out for us in the past. And then, like, we had technical difficulties with cameras and, upgrades and stuff like that. Is there anything you guys had issues like that?
Okay. Number 1, don't use Skype ever.
Skype is ass.
Stay the fuck away from Skype. And it's like, number 2, I do not know how many damn headphones. Yeah, it's like, I do not know how many damn headphones I've gone through until I got this current setup and everything. It's just like, this is like my 4th in 2 years.
I'm with you on that.
Kayla is like, I know you've gone through a couple yourself.
Yeah, because it's just like I had different microphones, because it's just like I didn't like the thing in front of my mouth, and then it's like I still had the one microphone. Then I found the podcast microphone, so I was like, well, I got to get rid of a headset without the microphone because it was echoing. And then it was a part of technical difficulties. Haven't been a while, but there for a while, it was like my internet kept going out. It was like literally in between.
I too.
It was just kept going.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was just like, and then even it was crazy because when I used to play, because I play Fortnite and stuff online, Dan goes, well, what happened to you? Just like fell off the face of the earth. Sorry, I died because I couldn't keep internet connection. So yeah, between Skype being stupid and and then losing internet and going through microphones and different stuff. Finally found my camera after we had moved into the new house, so I finally have that one. I just got to figure out if it's going to echo through because it has a built microphone in, so hopefully it don't override with this one. So yeah,
Oh, you can change it in the settings of Zoom. You can like change it in the settings and like turn off like the echo too. That's what me and Will and Joe have realized.
Okay,
Because we had a really bad echo in the beginning. If you go in like deep in the settings, that's how we figured it out. Because we all have the same mic now. Because all of us have a like Joe Will made us buy a top of the line Shure mic.
I didn't make nobody. I didn't make nobody.
He had a
do
gun
anything.
to our heads, bro.
Yeah, facts.
He strongly recommended it, and we were like,
Correct.
He's passionate about it. Let's hear him out. And I think it's been one of the better investments that we made.
Yeah, actually, yeah, the mic's actually really good. Like,
and I know, and then I know Jolie's had her issues like over the time and everything with like editing and just like stuff like that. But it's like I don't know. We can't get through this without her though. She does an amazing job editing all of our shows.
Shout outs to Jolie. That is the hardest part about anything. Before Jolie goes, editing is the hardest part about doing anything.
Oh
That's
God.
Yes. That's why every week we all have to do a not me. And it's always me that ends up with the not.
But our editing's quick. I definitely know like Jolie's editing is definitely more because they're doing the podcast. So she has to go in, make sure if anything got warped or anything like. That's a lot of like time that she has to spend. So I know that aspect of it.
Like if I know when we first started out, when there was like stutters, like I used to have a notebook and I would write everything out. Now I've just decided, you know what? I'm going to let the stutter stay in because it makes it sound more authentic. But I'll take out when Kayla goes, or I go, for like 10,000 times. So I try to like break it up. But like, what I do is like I will, like I said, I use my TV because one, bigger screen, I can sit in my recliner, I can be relaxed, I can do everything I need to do, and I can see it better than I can see it on the little screen, which is odd. But like I guess I like being just being able to not have my eyes hurt as much.
Correct.
Being a glasses wearer, it does take a lot of toll on your eyes. But my camera and my headphones were actually, funnily enough, suggested by Courage JD, a streamer that does Fortnite and Call of Duty. I follow him. Well, I used to follow him. Now I follow Dr. Lupo more because of his whole St. Jude aspirations. I just love what that guy does for the community. But I do Razer. I have a Razer camera, Razer headphones, and my mic is a blue Snowball, which is a low top end. So when I want to get like another one, I might go for the Yeti, but I haven't decided yet. I'm happy with what it is, but like if we go live, it is going to be like they're going to have to get, both of them are going to have to get clearer cameras. I know that much, just because.
What's wrong with my camera?
Shots fired.
Oh, if you want to see the difference between our comedy, go to our first video and then go to like our recent one. It's crazy how big of a difference it is.
Like, no, you like for like Kat, like you're just, to me, it's just a little bit blurrier. Like, the camera that I have is like, I think it's a 1080p. So like, you actually have to look at the resolution on it. Again, I actually take photography pictures. I do nature pictures as well. They've seen my pictures on my Facebook. Like they know that when it comes to taking pictures and picture quality, that is my biggest thing. Like, that's why I was like, oh, this is recorded. They're going to see my room. Okay. We're going to make sure they can at least see my Funko Pops more than me.
Correct.
There we go. There we go. That's a lot better.
All right. We'll table that camera
She said she'll
conversation.
allow that.
but that's like, when it comes to editing, I don't know how I'm going to edit for video. I think we're just going to stream it live, and then I'll take the audio out and edit the audio. That's just the editing. I originally started with Audacity, and Audacity kept crashing my computer.
Yep.
And then I used to make a fan-based music videos for TV shows and movies just because I'm that kind of a nerd. And I realized, there's an audio function. And so what I do is I take out the video, the text, all that. I'll leave as audio. Make that thing big so I can see everything bigger, and then just stretch it out as long as I can to go through it all. And it makes my life a hell of a lot easier. Audacity can suck a dick.
And Zoom too. Zoom can also suck a dick.
Yeah, so
like my biggest investment that I've done in this podcast for us is like I went from like a cheap MacBook to like the top of the line MacBook. I was like, yeah, I gotta have to do this because I got sick of it one day.
Oh yeah, I'm on my third computer. Yeah.
I want to get a tower for this, just because of the capacity that you can have with towers, the better video cards you can put in. But I already know that if I'm going to go the tower route, and I already know how much it's going to cost me, it's going to be a gaming PC.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Hands down, it's going to be a gaming PC or a gaming laptop if I have to go the laptop route if it's cheaper. Only because the gaming PCs have better video cards, better audio cards, all that stuff. It just makes life a little bit easier and it's faster. And don't get me wrong, I love my laptop. It just is a pain in the ass sometimes. Like it took me forever getting it restarted because I decided to be an idiot and crash.
It happens. Don't worry. We feel your pain.
Where I used to get frozen.
Oh yeah, everything like the screen went black. I was like, sorry, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to shut it down normal. I'll just hold the button down. And then it starts up and it'll play fine for a couple of days and I'll just have to redo it again.
YouTube, it's a content creating struggle. So now let's move to the part everyone's here for, the wrestling aspect of it. I want to give one shout out to Chaos Theory Podcast because I know Danny got in contact with Kayla, which got us in contact with you guys, and then we ended up meeting Chaos, who did both your theme music and our theme music. So shout out to him. So
He's
we're gonna
absolutely wonderful.
Need to get him back on the show.
Definitely.
Actually, he probably inspired us to upgrade our mics because when he came on, he was like he trumped us. I was like, oh god. Okay, so there's one topic.
His stuff. I think his stuff just broke. I just saw a tweet before he came on. Like his whole setup broke.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff. So you
shit.
end up upgrading it right before our interview.
So yeah, we'll have to reach out to him. But all right. So there was one topic that we had planned. So it was a AEW versus WWE versus Indies and like preferences and experience. But there's one topic I wanted to talk about that's kind of like breaking the Twitter world. And even Joe and them don't even know. But I just thought of this while we were going on. The Ryback comment that came out. I wanted to get you guys' perspective on that.
I'm blocked by Ryback. What the hell did he say?
Yeah, I didn't read the whole thing.
So Ryback basically was talking about the whole cuts and releases, and basically was like Vince doesn't know what he's doing anymore as a bit. I'll just go to the tweet.
Just read it.
I got you. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna just look it back up. Actually, I screenshot it because I posted up on our Twitter. Let's just say Ryback potentially was gonna get banned from. All right, so at Vince McMahon, like most promoters, has an insatiable urge to have control. He had no control watching his mom get beat up as a child, which is a horrendous thing for a kid to witness, as their WHORE mom tries to make ends meet. Vince has failed to evolve. Fuck you, old man. So a lot of people they say Ryback was making a point and then totally went left field. So I just wanted to get you guys' insight about it, just because Ryback basically was basically getting Twitter canceled with what he was.
Yeah, we already knew he was a few screws short, but this is what is wrong with this fool?
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever going to get another job again, ever. Because it's like
cares.
I don't think he cares at all, because it's like you don't make it. Yeah, some people don't like Vince, don't like his practices, how he runs business, or how he does with WWE and the releases and everything like that. You don't reference like that, because it's like shit like that. Unfortunately, if it's happened in your household and everything, it's like completely traumatizing and everything. And it's like you don't know people's backgrounds and everything. So that is like, Ryback can kick rocks. Fuck.
And eat
what
20
a loser.
burgers and eat 20 burgers on his YouTube channel. That's why.
She's Louise.
He's just I don't know. I mean, I kind of will back when he was in, part of WWE. I kind of liked, his character, but ever since he's been out on this, social media and let loose on it. It's just like, you're right. Like, what the hell's happened to this dude? Why do you keep bashing people? Why do you, like Jolie says, she's blocked by him. I really want to just send something up there, get blocked, but I kind of went around and start blocking him on accounts because I just don't like what he says.
Right.
And it's just, I save the time to get blocked, but
Aren't
it's
you
just
blocked by,
like
Sammy Guevara.
yes, Sammy Guevara did block me, and I'm proud of that. Okay.
But Sunny
Man.
Kiss, can you please unblock her on Instagram? She doesn't know what she did.
Exactly.
Free
Jolie,
Kayla.
Jolie, should I do it how we do on the show? With the should I bring court to session?
Bring court to
Jester.
session.
Yes, Jester is now in session.
Let it rip.
All
Jolie.
rise. The Honorable Jester's Court is now convening. The Honorable Jester presiding. Proceed.
Number one, Vince's mother recently passed away. You do not invoke the name of somebody who recently passed away. I don't care who the fuck you are. You are a goddamn giant ass meathead that looks like a fucking turtle. And that's an insult to turtles. That's number one. Two, who cares if she was a whore? Your mom was probably a whore too. You just didn't know it. Or did she not even want you? You didn't even know who the fuck she was. You're a fucking piece of shit. Okay. Number one, you don't talk about abuse because like Kat said, that's triggering. For me, that's triggering because I went through mental abuse in my life. You don't do that shit. No, you don't fucking invoke that, especially if you got people that want to be your fans and you could trigger them into having mental anxiety. And I bring that up because mental illness affects everybody. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We just saw a strong ass woman at the age of 76 end her life in Naomi Judd. 76 years old, and she ended her life. One of the biggest stars in country. Supposed to be honored tonight on Sunday, May 1st, to go to the Country Hall of Fame. She's supposed to be honored tonight for that. So saying what you said is triggering. Two, I'm going to say something that people might not like. Malcolm Blevins and Dakota Kai aside, there are some people that got let go that it's okay that they got let go. To go out and get a little bit more experience, to go out and be more into the wrestling world. Yes, NXT wants to start molding people. But number one, Parker Boudreaux was not meant to be the next coming of Brock Lesnar. That was never said by the WWE. That was said by the fans because that's what they thought. And then he became a freaky motherfucker, and I'm glad they cut him. Because he gave me fucking nightmares.
Yeah, I kind of admit with that the way they threw him in there, and it's like, noticed right before they started using him, they had him as a security guard, and the next thing you know, Dan texts me and says, Parker's bald. I said, what? And he just randomly shows up, and I'm like, this is the thing that scares you in your nightmares.
Exactly. I mean, the one that I'm sad about the most, to be perfectly honest, I liked Persia. I thought she was great, but she really didn't do anything for me in the ring. It was Dexter Lumis.
Yeah,
Dexter.
But you didn't see maliciousness coming from him. He had a picture that he painted of Vince with a T-Rex behind him, and he gave him a thumbs up. So who knows? Maybe Dexter also wanted out.
Dexter might have decided, I don't want to do this. Or
he has such. I would not be surprised if somebody in the horror genre did not pick up the man we call Dexter Lumis, because I'm a bad fan and I don't know his real name, but he would be an amazing silent sociopath in a thriller.
Samuel Shaw was his real name.
Thank you.
Or a Marvel villain. I can see him as a Marvel villain that
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He has the potential to be anything because he's got the body, but he's got that fucking stare that'll put your soul to sleep. Like you don't want. Nope. I'm just gonna stand here. Nope. Just don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. Don't look. Nope. Don't make eye contact. Nope. It's
Up
like,
too late.
fuck.
I tried to do it. I was trying to do it, but
But it's just Ryback needs to learn to shut the fuck up. Ryback is basically DJ Storms and JD wrapped up in one fucking holy turd. And that turd needs to get flushed like the twatsicle that it is.
Elon
Don't worry,
Musk needs
all
to
that red
ban
meat
him.
and steroids will catch up to him.
Oh yeah, that's all the steroids.
It's
I think
catching
are.
up. And the red
It-
meat. He's eating a lot of red meat.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It will-
Ryback, you are a piece of shit. I don't wish bad things upon you because you know what? No one deserves that. But if you want to talk about business practices, you can't say, well, Vince sucks. No offense, so does Tony Khan. He doesn't even let people know he's not going to re-sign them. They have to find out on Twitter. I think that's how Marco Stunt found out that he wasn't getting re-signed.
Yeah, that's
Something
not
like
good.
that.
I think
you
it's
know-
the same with Joey Janela too as well.
Yeah. Who, by the way, is very popular in the in the independent scene. I used when before pandemic at Comic Cons, he would have a line at the Headlock Comics booth for people to get his autograph because people fucking love Joey Janela. So it's like there is no good businessman when it comes to wrestling right now. I'm sorry, there isn't. I mean, is Tony doing good things? Yes. Is Vince doing good things? Yes. Are they both doing bad things? Yes. I mean, it's only a matter of time until Tony does something that pisses somebody off or Vince does something again to piss somebody off. But Ryback, you are found guilty of being a fucking cunt that needs to get flushed from the sewer and just go away from social media.
Yeah, potentially a Twitter ban, and hopefully with Elon Musk buying Twitter, hopefully he'll continue to keep the Ryback ban going.
Yes.
So we'll move on to something a little bit less
Stressful.
intense. Yeah,
It might be a little more stressful, tactical.
correct. Yeah, so we'll make this one quick. So we'll cut out the indies for this. We'll say AEW versus a WWE. Let's just get a quick, like, what's your preference on both companies, and then what's some of your experiences that you've had, whether you've been to a show. We'll take out like any negative. You can spoil anything. You can say anything negative if you want about either or, but any like crazy negative experiences or anything like that, and then any good positive experience and stuff like that.
I'll go first since I've never been to AEW shows. I know Kayla has. Kat's going, so, and I have no interest in going to an AEW show. My negative response with the AEW in a whole, and one of the reasons why I will not watch the product and I'll only like check it up on YouTube and clips and not from the actual AEW site. I'll go to fucking third party ones that put it up just so they don't get my views. And it's just the fact that they placate and pander to a certain fan base, but they won't stop said fan base from bashing Nyla Rose. They won't stop them bashing gay people like Sonny Kiss. They won't stop they placate to the hatred. They feed off of it. I swear to God, Tony feeds off of it. Omega feeds off of it. I know the Bucks sure as hell feed off of it. The reason why I don't like the Bucks is that I asked for a donation of one of their books to a special ed teacher. I was just lost my job and they were putting out books at Hot Topic and my local Hot Topic did not have it. So I was asking, for because it was like one of those like, nice kids stop bullying books. And like, I said, hey, could you guys maybe donate it to some of the local schools in Delaware? They didn't get the copies in the local Hot Topic, and their fan base came after me. Oh, you can't buy it. What are you, fucking poor? Like,
Damn,
dude.
I didn't know about that. Wow, that's
their fan base is fucking dicks.
Yeah.
They're psycho. They're really crazy about super kick parties.
So that and my original account that I had. I do not remember the name, to be perfectly honest. I was trying to see if I got it back when some people said, like, they unblocked how they freed out the thing for people to get their old accounts back, but somebody threatened to hurt Nyla Rose physically. And I said, okay, fine. They'll be in Philly. I'll be in Philly. How about I meet you outside the stadium and I'll show you what a curb stomp really is? Guess who got permabanned and guess who didn't? Somebody that was threatening to kill Nyla Rose, but somebody who's threatened that stood up for Nyla Rose, who doesn't even watch AEW because she's a sister. She's a trans sister. I take my community very seriously. Being a gay wrestling fan, people are like, oh, you watch it because the girls in bikinis. Okay, that's a plus. But it's not the reason I watch.
And those wrestling fans are hypocrites because I'm pretty sure they were back in the days watching when Vince was doing these panties and bras matches and stuff like that. Oh, God,
yeah. I mean, did it help me realize? Yes. So wrestling helped me realize I was gay. And wrestling helped save my life. That, and that's one of the reasons why, as much as Vince pisses me off, I will never turn my back on WWE. The fact that guys like the Hardy Boys and Lita helped me realize who I was. Watching Ric Flair, despite the fact I think he's a walking, talking, toxic piece of shit next to Ryback. I just,
I can't believe that guy has his own YouTube channel. I found it the other day. I was like, what the frick?
Who, Ryback or Flair?
He has Flair. He's got his own review shows of Raw and SmackDown. I was like, what?
Yeah, he has a whole YouTube thing. Yeah, he did a running of the ring with Jay Lethal like last week, and it was crazy.
I saw that. Yeah.
Flair,
that makes sense. They're both guys that have been accused of sexually harassing women. So.
I'm not subscribed though, so I had to get.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
So what's some positive? Obviously, you were telling us about how like WWE's influenced your life.
So positive.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is that I remember. It didn't happen to me. It happened to my best friend. It was her birthday. We went out to one of the shows. Lucha House Party was there. Becky was there. So Lucha House Party gave her half of the pinata. And Becky gave her a shirt and then proceeded to take Lacey Evans around the ring and brought her up to my best friend and said, did you wish her a happy birthday yet?
I remember you telling us that.
But I think one of the positive things, and the funny thing is it's not something that happened in WWE at all. I think it was 2014 or 15. I was at New York Comic-Con. Shane Helms, Jerry the King Lawler were all at Headlocked Comics. Jerry had a line out around, and I was just staring at the comics because I love comics, big nerd, and the artist is fantastic. I have his one Bray Wyatt piece over there. You can't see it because it's really awesome. It's him as the Fiend. If I ever get it signed, I really want to get that signed by Bray so bad. But I had just found out that one of my close work friends had passed away, and he was a wrestling fan. Shane let me talk to him almost all day. I would come back and he would say, how you doing? How you doing? And I think this is when he was still Hurricane and he was still doing stuff with WWE, but he's more backstage than he was out front. But Shane Helms, just helped me get through that day after finding out somebody, because my friend Frank loved wrestling. So we would always do wrestling skits up in bowling and talk about wrestling. So it's just the fact that I had that experience. And I will say that I have met many wrestlers, being at Access, being at cons. Some are assholes like Seth Rollins and Honky Tonk Man. Some are amazing, and some will remember you from 3 years after you met them, like Sergeant Slaughter.
Wow.
Because I met you 3 years ago or 2 years ago at New York Comic-Con. Now, I had colored hair and I was probably dressed in nerdy shit, and here I am in a wrestling t-shirt, and he goes, "I remember you." And this is at WrestleMania Access. I feel that WWE does a lot more for the communities, and it's something nice to see. Also, another thing, I worked at Dave & Buster's, and because Dave & Buster's is partnered with WWE, they actually used one of our locations. I don't know if it was our store or the Philly store, and they had John Cena there for a Make-A-Wish event.
No, it's awesome.
So for me, the positives of WWE, especially with Make-A-Wish and the community and Be a Star, it all outweighs a lot of the negativity from me. And some of the negative things they do, yes, the cuts, especially during the pandemic. But then you look at the people that they cut and how they're thriving. And so it's like, I see how it was a negative then, but you guys are thriving now. And if they didn't cut you, you would still be sitting backstage and catering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though there's negatives, there's a lot more positives. And to be honest, the fan base is a little bit nicer and cleaner on the WWE side than it is with the AEW side.
Correct. Yeah. Also having the younger fan base, it does help for that. But once again, you have then a wider fan base.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. Kayla?
I will say I don't really have any negative things to really say other than maybe the releases of WWE, but hey, a lot of them, go out there and do 20 times better. I mean, look at Killer Cross and Scarlett. They're, you got the Smoke Show back together, getting married in Alaska. I mean, just they're happy for themselves. AEW, I have been to two. My first ever one, just a positive vibe, because like I said, I watched it on TV, but I didn't really understand what the pop about it was. So I got to go see. I actually witnessed the first ever steel cage match. So I got to see Cody Rhodes spring off the top of the rope, pin Wardlow, and then the funniest thing about it just kind of made me snicker. I think I got it on video. If I find it, I'll send it to y'all's podcast. But you actually see Brandy down there go, he's getting up and he's raising his hands like this on top of the cage. Come on, back down, come on. She was freaking out that Cody's up there. And I was like, no, that's enough. Come down. Love that positive. And, WWE's always got the minimum. I haven't unfortunately met as much as wrestlers as Jolie because I have a whole list of different people I want to. But I have had the chance to, in virtual meet and greets, I've had the chance to meet Becky Lynch, Finn Balor, Natalya, which I was almost in tears because she's like my absolute favorite role model. Jey Uso, which was awesome. I mean, he was just fun to talk to. Braun Strowman was kind of awkward a little bit. I don't know how to describe it, but he was cool to talk to. And then probably if I had to say an awesome experience, I have been to Raws and SmackDowns, a couple of them, only one SmackDown and one SmackDown house show. But I want to say probably the most, as of right now, most amazing other than the virtual meet and greets. The first one, the only one I've only met in real life is, I'm going to say Mox because that's what he is right now. But at the time, he was Ambrose.
Good old Dean Ambrose.
Yep, I met him on actually Friday, September 11th when his video had came out. His 12 rounds 3 came out. And, it's like just the way he was with the younger generation. Like a lot of people say, oh, he's a lunatic friend. She's not, going to be able. He reacted with those kids like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just awesome how he reacted with the kids. And this was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I literally drove 8 hours to meet him at Wizard Comic Con. And my ex-friend Brent at the time, well, he was my friend then, and then my friend Heather that I went to school with in West Virginia. We all met up there, and we were going through the thing. And I'll give you a funny story. There was a girl in front of my friend Heather that wanted Ambrose, because you got a little index card that said, how did you want him to sign your autograph? And the girl wanted him to sign it to Kat, C-A-T, from my little Fluffy. That's how she wanted him to sign it. And he's like, okay. So he signs it, little Fluffy. And then my friend gets up there and he goes, oh, Heather, a normal name. So he's just like, and then he gets up there and he's like, oh, how you doing, Kayla? I said, I'm good. And I said, I drove 8 hours to see you. And most of all, I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning to watch your video. And he's like, well, what'd you think of it? I said, absolutely loved it. It's amazing. He says, thank you. And I didn't, just telling him, he was great that I traveled. He says, well, thank you for traveling, so far. And my friend goes, you just made him blush. I said, oh, I made him blush, so, and then of course I got a hug and he handed me the autograph, and, it's just how he reacted with the fans, and then I also have a goal where I do want to meet the other two, because I'm big Shield fan. So, it's just going to the shows and just, I think getting the chance to meet your favorite wrestlers is probably one of the positive thing about being a wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I have a whole list of people, like, Alexa Bliss, obviously, Killer Cross and Scarlett, and over in AEW, the biggest one, there's so many times I just want to, she's coming to the end of May, she's in Virginia, I so much just want to jump in my car and drive to Virginia. That's Chris Statlander. It's just, and I'll jump back to AEW, just, a lot of people say, well, she's not, I keep pushing her to get up there. She could just come out with her theme on a dark match, and I get so excited. Hearing their theme, seeing them wrestle, I think that's what makes the greatest. I just get all excited. And her newest theme, if you haven't listened to it, Culturized, it is awesome, and it fits her amazing gimmick. I think I've had it on repeat. So if you look at my repeat on my song, I've probably listened about 1,000 times now. So it's just, I'm just excited, just different things. And I can't wait. I don't know when my next show is, but hopefully it'll get to go to SummerSlam coming up, which is not too far from me in Nashville. So, but I've lost that little spunk of, liking wrestling. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched an actual NXT, but like I said, I catch up, gotten back into Raw and SmackDown. Have not watched AEW yet, but hey, you catch up online, whoopie-doo. So
all this is new, debut.
Yeah, pretty much.
You'll find Monday right now is the hottest thing in wrestling, like for the mainstream right now. So you're not missing much when it comes to it's hit or miss all over the place, but Raw is just.
But I won't try to spoil something, but I will say AEW, I did see what happened on there. But all I gotta say is it's getting a little tall, and you can't teach that.
Okay. All I'm gonna say. Who do you guys think it is?
Duh. I mean, he's this tall. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I hope
maybe it's Enzo. Maybe because it's Enzo. Enzo thinks Enzo's this tall, but he thinks he's this tall.
Oh, God.
No, or it's both of them. Or it's both of them.
I hope it's both.
Somebody put on Twitter, says, "Please keep Enzo away from AEW."
No, don't do that. All right, we save Kat for last. Feel free, take it away.
Because I know what she's gonna talk about. We all know.
I probably know too. Don't make me come to Texas if you do.
Tejas.
Ay. Okay. AEW, I'll keep brief and everything. I am going to my first show on May 18th, and I'm super excited about it. I didn't get a chance to go to the last one, fell through at the last minute, and I wish I actually was there, because that was the one where the entire audience had to ended up singing Judas from start to finish. And so it's just like the coolest wrestling shit always happens in Texas, in Houston. This is my personal opinion. Jolie will disagree with me, of course.
Let's see. Ronda Rousey debut was at Royal Rumble 18. That was in Philly.
ECW started in Philly.
Oh. Becky Lynch won double titles in the main event. First ever women's main event in New York.
like I said, Jolie's going to disagree with me and everything, but some of the best moments in wrestling history that I've been a part of and everything have happened in Houston. But either way, back to AEW. Some of the negative that I see with it, yeah, it's like some of the fan IWC who's on the AEW side, they've brought a lot of toxicity, and it's like sometimes you just can't get away from it. And also it's like I do wish that they would feature the women's division a whole lot better, because most of the time the booking for that has just been downright awful. It's like you have a 2-hour show and then you can find time for like one actual match, which is sometimes not really that long, and then maybe a couple short backstage segments. That's it. Okay, WWE. Yeah, the releases suck sometimes and everything. And God, last year, oh, I went off. But I do see how we get the backstories now as far as like what was going on and everything. So it's like sometimes it's like you wish they were still with WWE, and then but you also see how much happier that they are and everything. The positive side for me for wrestling and everything is how much it's connected me to my family, and I'll keep this really short and everything. I got into wrestling back in 2005 because of my nephew, my eldest nephew. He was like 9-10 years old at the time. Brought over a tape when he was spending the night at my house, spending the weekend at my house, excuse me. And then it was Vengeance 2005 main event, Triple H and Batista, Hell in a Cell and everything. So it's like it kind of like snowballed from there. We went to our first show together in October, and I told him the other day, he is my original wrestling buddy, the OG. And so to this day, he's like about to be 27 and everything. So it's like it's like we can still talk wrestling without a shadow of a doubt. And then of course it's like when I met my husband, he used to be into wrestling, but then he got back into it when he met me. I go to meet his family in Boston and everything. A couple of my brother-in-laws, my nephew, they're wrestling fans as well. And so it's just, it's like, it's been like one thing over the years that I found like common ground with a lot of people on and everything. And it's like, especially, and then after doing this podcast for these last 2 years and everything, it's like I'm so much more involved in wrestling and my knowledge and just what's going on than I've ever been before, especially like with the indie scene and just like meeting and talking to people all over. And the only wrestler I've met, like did a virtual meet and greet with, is Apollo Crews. The only other wrestlers I've met in person are indie wrestlers, which is completely fine. We've had them on the show and everything. But it's just like wrestling, I can say, has actually changed my life in so many ways. And it's just like, you never know what's next.
I think that's the greatest part about, from all your experiences, you can take something from it. Like when we started our podcast, man, I met a good friend, Danny, man. I went to like my first Red Sox game with this guy, and I've been a huge fan. So Danny pushed me to go to my first game, obviously first AEW show. So it's amazing, like the people you're going to meet and then the experiences that you're going to have, and just how much wrestling can just, better your life. Now, obviously, like we said, there's the toxicity that you can get, the tour the world, all that kind of stuff. To where, though, I feel like everyone in the wrestling community, we all like, at the end of the day, we like wrestling. So we want to see everybody do well, everyone have a job. We want to be entertained. So there's sometimes where we're not entertained and sometimes where we are. So then it's the back and forth. So that's pretty much for my segment. And I think Joe has the last one, and then we'll do our Would You Rather, which we do with every guest that comes on.
So
the Would You Rather is a fun one.
Yeah, it's a real fun one. So I think we all can agree that, we all have our favorites, and there's people who influence us in wrestling. I know something that we like to do when people come on is, to know their Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. We do see a lot of similar answers, but that just shows us, how impactful these wrestlers are.
Do you want to do a twist to it, Joe, to make it more debatable?
Or what do you have in mind?
So instead of having everyone go by and give us their Mount Rushmore, how about all collectively, all 6 of us, we have to agree on a Mount Rushmore. There's 4 people on Mount Rushmore, right? Yeah, 4 people.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go to 5. So we're all gonna have to come together and agree upon 5 wrestlers.
6? Well, how about this? We all pick one person and we make our own Mount Rushmore.
No, do 5. Do 5 where we all, because then that means there's one person who has to argue their side even more.
Yeah.
So you like that idea, Joe? This way it makes it a little bit more debatable, where it's more of our kind of style where we get to debate it. So no one will go mute. Anyone can chime in, and then this is where it's going to get a very intense to where.
Oh Lord!
So we're like up.
Lord!
Cat fight starts now.
So, because me, Joe, and Danny, we did our top 5. So I think one person we all had was John Cena. Is that correct?
Agree?
No, I'm just saying we had John Cena.
I think Taker was one of those.
Let's do Taker. I think so. Lady, do we feel that Taker could be in the top 5 if we had to come to a top 5?
Oh yeah, for sure. He was the first one that popped in my head.
I would go with Undertaker because, like I said, he's just the phenom. Why not? I mean, he's done so much history. So,
Jolie,
what do you think?
I'm fine with putting Taker on there. I think he's the one universal that we can actually say that's actually surpassed the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and he completely reinvented himself every time and had some banger of themes. You know, he went from Kid Rock to Limp Bizkit to Johnny Cash for that one pay-per-view, which was awesome. And it doesn't matter, like if you go to like any Halloween themed, like, you know, I go to Six Flags when they have the Fright Fest, and as soon as I walk in, I hear the graveyard thing, and I look around for fucking Taker. So yes, Taker is definitely one that I think.
Taker.
Yep. Okay, so let's do. So Kayla, who do you think you may want to put in the top 5, and we'll see if we agree.
Oh man,
Danny, you're next too, and then we'll go with.
Can it be female?
It could be anybody.
Okay.
Just wrestler though.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, this is really hard, but I'm gonna put her out there, Charlotte Flair.
Okay, as much as I am love Charlotte, there's another female that would be ranked above her. In my eyes, I would put Becky Lynch, just because of the fact that she can keep kayfabe 100%. She's basically the female Undertaker when it comes to that. She can keep kayfabe alive. She keeps kayfabe alive on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. And when you meet her, she's a completely different person. Like, we all know she's this right now crazy psychotic woman. But you know, when you see her at meet and greets or meeting the kids when they're over in England or doing other things, you know she's going to be meeting with everybody, and she just loves meeting her fans. So she's one of the one. I mean, don't get me wrong, Charlotte is great. She deserves to be in the talks, but when it comes to kayfabe, Becky is the best.
Would you, for someone who could possibly be put above Becky, the only one I can really think of that could possibly have a big of impact as she did would be Lita.
Oh, definitely.
I think if you had to put one woman on there, I think Lita, just you know how many women have came out because she was the one diva or the one female superstar who wasn't in the start always dressing all skimpy and stuff like that. Eventually she did, but how many women were comfortable coming out, or how many men were even comfortable coming out being like, this is something different, this is something I like.
Oh yeah,
I think you may have to put Lita up there then.
This is tough. This makes it hard, man. This is
when we talk about Lita, Lita's actually was on my list. I would have actually had Becky and Lita, but if we had to choose between the two, despite the fact that I love Becky, I would pick Lita for what you said, and for the fact that Lita has influenced Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, Alexa, Nikki, Rhea, all of them. She is the catalyst that has helped create some of these future superstars that we have in the ring now. So, and yeah, she dressed like she came right out of Hot Topic in the 90s. And that's what we loved about her.
Yeah.
And that's what I was able to tell her when I met her, because, you know, I said to her, when I saw her with S.A. Reyes for the first time in 99, 2000, and then the Hardy Boys saved her, and then just seeing her with Jeff and all them, it just, I told her straight out, you helped me find me. You know, it was okay to be different. It was okay to be gay, even though, like, you know, they weren't, but to embrace the difference. And she responded, she goes, nobody has ever said that I helped them find them, that they always wanted to be me, be Lita. And I think that's what she is by far, like, you know, has to be on the list if we're going to go with that route. So Undertaker and Lita are the two set in stone.
Kat and Danny, do you guys agree with Lita being in there?
Yes.
I do agree with Lita and everything, because it's like she wasn't the stereotypical female wrestler in that during that time and everything. She was bold, brash. She did take a lot of chances that the girls wouldn't even take and everything. So yeah, I agree.
I think if we're going with championships, though, Kayla, you definitely hit the nail on the head. Like accomplishments.
Well, I was bouncing back
long
and
has
forth.
she been in? Like, how long has she been in the main card? And what she got? 14 world titles. They weren't all the greatest, but you know, when you think
They
of
weren't the
present day
greatest
wrestling, you
but
know,
they were like
she's a standard.
July 2015.
God damn, 7 years.
But a lot of it, but the only reason I would say not Charlotte, a lot of it I felt was a little forced, just because of who her daddy was, and because look at someone like Cody Rhodes, he didn't get forced like that. But when Charlotte came to the scene, I felt a little bit of it. She did.
Daddy
have to work
wasn't
for
a
it, don't get me
rookie.
wrong. But I felt a little bit what was forced, but obviously Charlotte, you know, she did what she had to do. So Danny, so we got Undertaker, we got Lita. Actually, we'll let the ladies go first. Sorry, Kat. Give us a third one that we may agree, we may not disagree. We may agree, we may not disagree with.
You're on the spotlight now.
You're on the hot seat, girl.
I would have to say someone did mention him for like a hot second and everything, but John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah. Titles, persona.
Why would you want to put him on there? You can't see him.
Hilarious.
It'll just be a blank.
Titles, presence, his overall effect on the WWE.
Culture overall.
Culture, showmanship. It's just how, because take you back to, they just showed this the other day after that Extreme Rules in 2011, I think it was, when after the show he got on the announcer's table and announced that we had taken out Osama bin Laden and everything. It's just like, yeah, it's just like you can't. It's like
it's hard to
he
argue.
has to go on there. Exactly. It's like I don't see that. I don't see
He's
any way around it.
He's a poster boy. If you know Hulk Hogan was the poster boy, now fuck Hulk Hogan, and now we got Cena. Cena's the
perfect
poster boy, and I don't think you can have anyone who's gonna topple that until
right.
maybe 10 years from now, maybe possibly Roman. But even then, he didn't change the game. Like Cena was basically the MJ for wrestling. He made it popular. He brought it to the mainstream and stuff like that.
And then hell, it's like last year, Money in the Bank weekend and everything. When Money in the Bank, when he came back, it's like he still has that effect on the WWE universe. And you see kids who weren't even alive when he was on his major runs and everything. And it's like they know who he is, and it's like they support him and like support his message and everything. So
definitely.
Probably we would have to agree. I'm not knowing about the numbers, but probably has sold probably the most merch besides maybe Austin potentially, for like how much merch this guy has sold. And he also carried WWE through the darkest of time, because I'm gonna be honest, around the what was it, the Nexus, when Nexus first come up with like Wade Barrett, I think WWE was in a very bad spot. There was a lot of shakiness, and John Cena carried that entire little bit of era of WWE into this next era that we're into now.
Did have to borrow Triple H's shovel, but he got the job done.
Correct. All right, Danny, you've been a little bit quiet, man.
Cena?
Do we agree?
Yeah. Yep.
Cena?
Cena. Okay. I'm picking. You smell what The Rock's cooking? The Rock.
This because there's so many people that like when you listen to 5, there's so many, but like it's hard to. I'll let.
Wait,
hard because-
why?
Okay.
Why the Rock?
Mine? Mainstream presence now, like the other, like his presence in the ring, like people, like even his new show, like now they're getting deep into his wrestling career. Like this Saturday, they're actually starting the 1994 locker room. If you guys have not seen the picture going around on Twitter of it, like it has all the old guys. Like they're showing him going through the era of the locker room of when he was there.
Yeah, but I didn't know Mick Foley was that skinny.
Facts.
So my question is, are you putting The Rock on there? Because if we putting The Rock on it, we can have a discussion. But we can't be putting Dwayne on there. Like The Rock and Dwayne are two
Rock.
different people.
Yeah.
See, because you're talking about Dwayne. That's Dwayne, bro.
Because it's like if you're talking about The Rock and everything, to be completely honest, to be completely honest and everything, I would actually put Austin ahead of Rock.
I agree. And I was a Rock fan. Will was Stone Cold. I was The Rock. And years later, when we did our Mount Rushmore thing on the show, Will, you were right. I was wrong. I picked the wrong side. Yeah. You had the better one. Your man had a match at WrestleMania. That shit was a banger.
Facts.
You were right, Will. I apologize.
Only thing you could give The Rock, obviously, I know we're not considering Dwayne, but Rock taking the leap. Well, he didn't even take a leap because Hulk Hogan took that leap earlier later on in his career. So you can't really consider that because then it's all like Hulk Hogan was one of the first to really be like showcasing like all the movies, the 80s movies and stuff like that.
Actually, I think Piper was first.
Piper was first?
I think Piper and then Hogan. Because Piper had I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. I think
they live with the They live, yeah.
And Piper was on It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And I will always give him
gold.
Oh man. He called me that. So once again, it's not towards you, Danny, but I don't think we can put The Rock on there. So
okay, that's fine.
I 100% agree with not putting The Rock on there just because he's two people. Whereas John Cena is one person.
Correct.
He's not John Cena and, that's his name. That's John Cena. He surpasses so much more than mainstream media. He talks about love is love. He had that whole LGBT love is love campaign a couple years ago. He just surpasses so much. Whereas it's not The Rock in the movies. It's Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
And with Cena, you got to put him on there for the community.
Oh, God.
This man has single-handedly granted the most Make-A-Wish wishes in
He's like a 600.
Yeah, I think he's at like 600 something. Like that's crazy.
And doesn't he have the key to the city to what Scotts? Is it Phoenix? Yeah, Phoenix. From when he was the
I think Scottsdale, Arizona too.
He was the parade guy. I forgot what they call him.
The head
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal. There we go. All right, so we have 3 guys. We have Lita, Undertaker, John Cena. We need a 4th. We need a 5th.
We did Stone. We got 4.
Are we agreeing?
Yeah.
Stone
Cold?
I
don't agree with Stone Cold.
You don't agree with Stone Cold?
Who would you put above him?
Randy Orton.
Okay.
Ooh. I would agree with Jester on that one, definitely. Then
so the only reason I couldn't put Randy over Stone Cold is without Stone Cold, there may not be a WWE though. With what he did with Vince, with that not happening, once they started that gimmick, they switched the war changed. That's the only thing I would give because I'm a Stone Cold lover, and Randy to me is the best heel I've ever seen. Like his gimmick and just him and Edge are 2 of my favorite heels of all time. I would put Stone Cold more for the fact of who has a bigger, like, not catchphrase, but who has promo skills to the level where, Randy's good, but is he Stone Cold level? Merch wise, does Randy touch Stone Cold? No. But that's a good one. I don't know. Once again, so we're going to have to do a tiebreaker or something.
I mean, with Randy, again, he's breaking records. He's the most most pay-per-views, most episodes of Raw,
Matches. Yeah.
matches. The fact that he really hasn't been out with injuries like Stone Cold. He's been probably one of the most consistent wrestlers that we've had. A lot of times, the only times that he was out was for, the birth of his children or dealing with personal issues. I mean, he's a self-proclaimed asshole. I mean, he said it back in the day when he was coming up. He's a self-proclaimed asshole. But I think, when it comes to Stone Cold, and yes, Stone Cold has changed a lot of his ways. Stone Cold does come with a lot more baggage than Randy does, with a lot of the accusations that he has against him in the past with the domestic violence and other charges that weren't really charges, but it's been brought up. Whereas Randy has only really been accused of shitting in a diva's bag.
Okay.
And doing that thing where he used to like put his hand in his pants and then go up and shake people's hands.
Yeah, that's a different.
Yeah, but that's funny.
Wait, but what about? So I know you're saying about the injury aspect. So Stone Cold and the wrestling community has been on this. If he didn't get injured with the Owen Hart pile driver, which shortened his career, if he didn't have that happen, do you think he would have still had more in the bag for the longevity?
Yeah.
We do know his knees were getting shot, but if he didn't have that neck injury that it's almost to this, obviously not
Definitely
like the
slowed him
Tyson Kidd
down.
kind of standpoint. Tyson just completely just could not like wrestle anymore. It's never going to happen.
I think if they had the modern technology and modern medicine that they have today that they had back then, he'd be pulling an edge.
So could
100%.
Can you knock him though? Because he did have I know obviously it was more of a lighter match, but he did have a match at WrestleMania. I'm not saying it's like the Randy level, but because of
Kevin Owens did most of the work.
No, I understand, but like think of like this. So like Randy, yeah, he's had this long career, but Randy has maybe only had one really crazy incident with like Mr. Kennedy where he was dropped on his head, where Stone Cold basically broke his neck, basically. So shortened his career, and he also is in a time where modern medicine isn't as good. So can you use the longevity of a career against Stone Cold though?
Honestly, I think I can, because like you said, his knees were already shot. So he could have still had a shortened career because of his knees. Double knee braces, as somebody who has bad knees knows that at any moment you can be in writhing pain and you won't be able to get into the ring and run those ropes. You can slip when you're doing a stunner and hurt yourself even more.
Sure.
So he already had the injury bug. So unfortunately, yes, we can't not talk about Mount Rushmore or anything without Stone Cold. If this was 6 people, 100% Stone Cold would be on there.
Okay.
But if we're going to put Stone Cold on there, if we're going to put Randy on there, there's one person that has to go on there, and he's not a wrestler. And it's Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
So
because without him,
me and Will have had this conversation, and when we did it, we put him on there. And I think regardless, that's what we did, wrestlers only, because in everyone's Mount Rushmore, you have to give a spot for Vince, because without Vince, none of this is possible.
So we're saying right now, Vince is the metaphorical 6th man.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a sculptor,
He's the 6th god.
He's a god. He's the 6th
He's the god. He's God. He literally fought God. Remember that.
Facts, yeah.
So a question: if we have got Vince as a 6th god, if you like to say, well, do you think possibly? Ooh, I don't know, those Rainy things made it good. Good.
Don't ask me. Let Kat go. Let Kat. Let's. So if Vince is considered the god looking down on Mount Rushmore, can we consider Stone Cold off? What do you think, Kat? This makes it hard. This is.
Might as well just make it 6 at this point.
Because Kayla switched instantly. As soon as she said Randy, she went, and then I don't know where Danny stands. So feel free if y'all two want to chime in and give us both of your take back and forth.
I think you make the claim for both of them. You know how you have that tiebreaker? You got to make that. I know we only said 5, but we might have to go 6.
Or you can just put that 5th spot and everything, and just put like little half their faces each and everything. Kind of half and everything, because it's honestly hard to pick between the two and everything, because it's like they've both had such like a huge impact in the WWE over the years and everything. And hell, you could tell like with Randy also, like he just celebrating his 20th year and everything. It's just that 5th spot, half and half, done.
Oh yeah, because we
So-
definitely watched him grow up the last 20 years, like Randy, from being like a dipshit to basically
A
cool
locker room
legend.
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's having the greatest time of his life. I never thought.
Oh
I
God, yeah.
never thought I'd, like when he was in NXT, I was never fond of Riddle. I mean, I'll admit that.
Same.
And then when then he comes up and joins forces with a guy that was one of the very first wrestlers when I started watching WWE. Joined him as tag team. I'm still waiting for that scooter ride though. I still want Riddle to get Orton on that scooter, but it's just amazing just seeing how him and Riddle connect. And it's like, now you ask me Usos or RK Bro, and I'm like,
It's hard to
Oh my
choose.
God.
yeah, love both of them. So
So for this last spot, this is where it's gonna get a little tricky because I think everyone always has their preference of someone who they want to put on there. Will, who do you got?
Who would I put on there?
Who would you want to put up for debate?
It's so when we were talking about championships, I originally had Ric Flair before the whole incidents came out, before the whole the web
Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring. So I took Rick off. I was just like, okay, if you're a piece of shit kind of guy, and I could see it, Rick, don't. Oh my God, I was stuck between potentially maybe Triple H, just for like he had one of the greatest singles runs, and he also had one of the greatest tag team runs and one of the greatest factions ever. So I was very torn between Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and we were originally thinking Hulk Hogan, but John Cena I think was the better Hulk Hogan in my opinion. So I don't know. I'm torn. So I'm gonna ask them and it's hard to figure out who's gonna be that fourth person.
I'd say both DX. I'd say just DX. Put them both.
I'd say do the half and half because
Do the half and half.
A half and half. But is
Yeah.
there anyone
So-
else besides them you think that makes it
Because you
argument?
got to think like
I think
let me
I
get
have
in-
someone.
I think you got to debate because you got to think how many people were influenced because of Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Like you got Seth, Adam Cole,
Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, like you name everyone. Like Triple H is Cody, like there's so many like you got to give Triple H. I know he married into family. That's how he got. Remember when he first came in, he was a freaking jobber.
Facts. Well, so was Matt and Jeff Hardy. That's just how it is. You start off as a jobber. MJF was a jobber.
So, question:
go.
what if I was able to convince you that?
Don't say Bruno Sammartino. Don't do that.
No, I'm not saying Bruno. I'm not
Try
going
to be cute last time. Say it.
So
You go
what
Bruno,
if I
I
were to
swear.
convince you that I think the last person who belongs on the Mountain Rushmore, potentially, I don't think it can replace Lita, but it might be a person who could slide into that spot. But I think if we're talking about DX or whatever, I think this person could easily have a good case for it. And he was not a world champion.
Okay.
I'm going with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. This man's mic skills was so good. If you ever had any doubt on this man and this man's ability to speak, watch his Hard Times promo. And don't put any video on, just listen to it, close your eyes, and tell me you didn't get goosebumps after that. And tell me that promo does not still relate nowadays. How good of a promo person was he? He was given the whole NXT division to run for promos.
I just
That
didn't watch him
influences
like
your
that.
Finn
That's the only
Balor.
thing.
Huh?
I just didn't watch him like that. So it's almost just like, some people can't put like, Kareem or Wilt because they're some of the best in basketball. Like I can't put Dusty because I just didn't watch him like that.
So I didn't watch Dusty as much as that. I went back and watched him and stuff. But if I think you're talking about a person who's influenced in the future, you got to put Dusty on there. Anyone who came through NXT and became a star, your Seth Rollins, your Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Big E and stuff like that. Think about it. They had to go through, Dusty Rhodes.
Can't hear you, Danny.
I said it because he called them all his NXT children. Like,
So we're gonna put
basically.
Dusty Rhodes because he said everybody's his NXT children.
No,
I don't agree with it. If I
I'm
don't
saying
know,
wrestling is two parts. It's on the ring and on the mic. On
but
the
you've only
mic,
told us about like on the mic and influence though. Like in ring, give me some.
Taker was
in-ring
never good.
accomplishment.
Taker was never good on the mic, but he was able to sell it.
But that was Taker's gimmick though. He didn't really need to talk.
He
That's
made
my
up for it in Hall of
understanding.
Fame.
Yeah.
And Taker had the best talker at that time. Because if we're gonna go that way, and I love Dusty, don't get me wrong, Dusty is. Kayla mentioned earlier that I met Cody. I met Cody at Heroes and Villains in Secaucus, New Jersey. I told Cody what I tell every old time wrestler that I get a chance to. And since I can't tell Dusty, I said, I would like to thank you for your father. Because without him, I wouldn't have a relationship with my grandmother, who had recently passed away. So, Cody and Dusty definitely mean anything, a lot. But if we're going to talk about, like, somebody who's a really good talker, not a wrestler, you have to think about this one person. And I know he's just a manager, but he's the best manager in WWE right now.
I know where it's going.
And that is the Walrus, Paul E. Heyman, the innovator and creator of one of the most brutal and psychotic bunch of bastards to ever fight in South Philly.
Correct too.
ECW.
Because that also
you don't
combats
get-
Joe's argument. Yeah, a lot of people came through NXT and Dusty had it went through Dusty, but the Dudleys, Sabu, Raven, Raven.
Sandman.
They
Sandman.
created the extreme matches.
Correct.
So I hear what you're saying. And I think it's great because both of these guys are people who aren't your average wrestling build. Paul was, he's a big guy, and Dusty, he was a big guy, and he wore polka dots and he was unorthodox. People had a lot of harsh things to say about him. But I don't think when you put a Mount Rushmore out there, how many people did Heyman have to cross? How many people have had a bad experience with Paul Heyman where it ruined possibly wrestling for them? I don't know anyone who's had a bad experience with Dusty where it became out into the open and where, he ruined the whole experience, just up and left Tommy Dreamer to take care of some of the stuff. But I do, if you're talking about mic skills, I think Heyman's definitely one of the best talkers. I see him as top 3 in my eyes.
So if we had a Mount Rushmore for managers, it would be Heyman on that list. Number
Heyman
one.
and I think Heyman and Bobby Heenan easily are the top 2 undisputed. You probably can't even argue about those two.
Maybe even Paul Bear.
Heyman, Heenan, Paul Bearer, and I would throw Zelina Vega on there. Because she was amazing as Andrade's. And for females, they didn't get physical back in the 80s and 90s, but she did. So that would be my pick.
For manager,
I like Armando Estrada. I thought he was really nice with Umaga.
Armando was good, but I would also give it to
Okay. So
the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Is it Jimmy
yeah,
Hart?
Jimmy Hart. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So this is hard. So if we're going just base, let's say just wrestlers, because Vince did wrestle. I'm not sure. Has Paul had a wrestling match?
All wrestles.
Technically he did, but then they changed it out.
Paul wrestles.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that match. I actually did come up with another wrestler that I wanted to throw into the mix here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because Jolie mentioned about telling the second generation, whoever she's met and everything, if their father has wrestled before, she always thanks them and everything. I flash back to January 2021, start of our second season. We had the honor of having Shal Guerrero on our show. And Jolie, same thing. She told Shal, thank you for what your father brought to the industry. And it got to me thinking and everything. he won one world title. He had a few championships in his career, but the man had wrestling in his blood, his family. He's a second generation. He had a lot of charisma. And it's like he drew the people in with no matter what he was doing, and he still influences a lot of wrestlers today.
Correct. Yep.
You're talking Sasha, you're talking Dominic, you're talking people
Paul.
in Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, no. He's banned from Texas. Fuck him. He's banned from
Logan
Texas.
Paul on the Mount Rushmore, maybe.
No.
Yeah,
God.
throwing him off. Throw him ass off.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
No, but it was like Santana and Ortiz and AEW and everything. It's like Eddie Guerrero has been such a fixture in wrestling for so many years, even after his death and everything. And that's a name I would put up for consideration on the Mount Rushmore.
I was actually thinking the same thing about Eddie, because of what you said. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If he didn't tragically pass away, I think a lot of events that happened in the years following wouldn't have happened.
True.
I think he would have been one of the greatest champions that we'd ever had. I think that he would have moved on to probably be what Adam Pearce is.
Yeah.
He would be running Raw right now. And do you know how much fucking fun that show would be?
Right?
I think that we don't talk about Triple H anymore or Dusty as much as we love them. Because you were thinking them and I was thinking Afa and Sika, the Ananois. Because if you want to talk about somebody that's bracing the Mount Rushmore, the Samoan dynasty had it built on its backs.
True.
So, but I would definitely put Eddie, like you said, you can't dispute everything that Dusty has done. Triple H, Shawn Michaels. But Eddie brought something different. He made China into something completely different. We never thought we could see her being fun and just a side piece. No, he made her into so much more. And we fell in love with her when she won the Intercontinental Championship. We fell in love with her when she won the women's title. Finally. And I would argue that China should be on the list as well, but unfortunately, Lita has a bigger influence.
Correct. Yeah.
So, one thing about, I have an unpopular opinion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very unpopular opinion.
Oh God, here comes his Eddie
Shots fired.
Guerrero opinion.
I know people love Eddie, and I understand why they love Eddie. Now, growing up, Eddie was decent in my books. He was decent. When he passed away, it was sad, it was tragic. But even then, I still didn't hold him up to the standards of, other wrestlers. People put him at like that S tier. I never ever, still to this day, I don't see him as this S tier superstar. I see him as maybe B tier, maybe A tier, but I'm still working on trying to see this elite level that Eddie brought. And I do understand, his death definitely helped influence, I think, to solidify him into that, legendary status. And I think that's my issue with, the whole Eddie comparison is, if he chose not, if he had a proper, run with, his main, he was just getting into being a main eventer in my eyes.
His prime.
His prime. And he, unfortunately, he tragically passed. people forget before that, he used to do, a lot of funny stuff. He wasn't that popular. He wasn't as strong because he was from WCW. So I never put Eddie up there, and that's just one of the people I understand. Like, it's one of those gripes I always pick with people when they pull up Eddie. But I do respect Eddie Guerrero and his legacy. It's something I have to learn how to appreciate. This is something I always like to share with people, though, because I feel like it's one of those things, people don't always mention. But I think Eddie is up there, but I don't think he's Mount Rushmore worthy. But I do believe he has influenced in a big way how wrestlers are, how they perform, their promos. He is a big influence. I just haven't gotten the chance to have that aha experience moment, and I'm waiting on it. I've gotten a lot better over the years with it, but I'm still waiting on that moment where I'm like, I really see Eddie as other people see Eddie. So just throwing that out there.
So you're more along the line of he's influenced a lot of people. You just didn't get to see enough of his prime to see if he's.
I don't think
is that what you're saying? You didn't get enough.
I'm just saying I don't think he warrants the as strong as of a admiration as he receives. That's how I would say it. It's not a popular opinion, but that's the best part about wrestling. It's unpopular,
All right.
Let me offer a rebuttal.
I would love to hear one.
You say that he's not popular. No, he wasn't. But here's the thing. He looked like a normal guy. He wasn't all jacked up. He wasn't the strongest, the fastest. But he connected with the audience on so many different levels. When he won the title against Brock Lesnar, never heard a crowd that loud before. Because the people saw him. And the reason why they saw him was because when he came back, WWE fired the man because he was doing drugs and alcohol and fucking up. And that is what made him connect with people. Because they saw, Eddie's just like me. He has the same issues as I do. Same struggles. And when he came back, that is what made him explode. He made you believe that he was Dominic's daddy. I mean, hell, a lot of us still do believe that. I don't know. I don't know where he got the hype from. Come on.
Papi. So let's go.
Like the Miz said, hey, you look kind of look like Eddie.
A little bit. But the fact that even today, if they put "I'm Your Poppy" t-shirts at any locale, they would sell out.
Agreed.
Eddie had the ability, just like Dusty, to make people believe in him. Dusty wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the muscular. He had chunkies and rolls. He was fluffy. Eddie was, not the most muscular out of his family. Chavo, his nephew, was built better than he was. But Eddie made you believe that if you believe, you can do it. And when he won the title, because you can honestly say, yeah, Dusty has those things, but he never won the title.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He never got that brass ring. He never got that over the hump push. So with Eddie, I remember when he passed away. I remember watching that Raw. I was bawling like a little kid. It was so hard to watch. And just even seeing Redacted talk about him still breaks my heart to this day. And I say Redacted because I will not say his name. But, it was just, Eddie had the ability to make an audience fall in love with him.
Mhm.
Eddie had the ability to make an audience hate him. And that's special. That's what gives him the chance to be in the Mount Rushmore.
Good argument. So we got to come down to choosing the last person. Now, y'all may hate me, but we got to vote on the Stone Cold Randy Orton. I don't think we can do a half. So anytime we disagree, I think we got to go to a vote. So let's go to, so Joe, I kind of agree with the Eddie aspect of it. I think it does correlate. Kat, Kayla, Danny, what do you got? You guys?
Kind of do agree with Eddie, but I also agree with Dusty. It's hard. It's hard.
No, I always like throwing Dusty in there. Like, I think she made a good point for Eddie. So I definitely think, as a collective, she made her point, and it was a good point.
Yeah.
She did express, people believing in him. That's an experience, unfortunately, I haven't received yet, or I haven't gotten to experience that moment. But, as I keep watching more of his stuff, hopefully I do get that, emotion and that feeling and stuff like that. So
Either read his book or watch his documentary, because that'll help you see a little
most
bit
of it. I liked him. I like WCW Eddie and ECW Eddie. I love those Eddies.
Mullet Eddie.
I feel like I was missing that WWE Eddie, and I think a lot of the stuff was, the drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, and just I think that kind of helped. I think that kind of like softened the blow. I was like, it wasn't the same and stuff like that. So, but I do understand, like, he is a worthy contender. So I think dropping Dusty and putting Eddie up there would be a fair accommodation.
So all right, so I'll start this off. My 5, Taker, Lita, Cena. Those are the ones we've agreed on. Eddie, Jolie, I love you, but I gotta go Stone Cold over Orton. Sorry.
All right, so I'll go next. I have the same 5. I would do
Jolie.
The same 5.
I would
save Jolie save you and Jolie because you guys have the most like difference. So no, we'll let you two. Yeah, you're right. Go ahead, Jolie. Then we'll save Kayla and Danny since they've been the most quietest. We'll figure out where their heads are at.
Oh God.
So I am Undertaker, Lita, Cena, Eddie Guerrero, and Randy Orton.
Randy, okay. Joe?
I agree with Will and Kate, but Jolie did convince me to add Eddie there. So thank you, Jolie. Giving me some hope. I like it. Maybe I can be saved.
I agree with Joe and Will and Kat on it. I think it should be Stone Cold, because everyone knows what Austin 316 Day is. Even mainstream media knows what 316 Day is.
But like I said, I know I chose Stone Cold, but only thing about that, a lot of people know what the RKO is. The RKO challenge mean that was going on was big. All right, Kayla, let's hear it.
Well, to agree with my girl Jolie, I think Orton should be over top of Austin.
Okay. And the Eddie or Dusty?
I'd put Eddie on there.
Eddie.
So I think we are all of an older generation. I think if you put a younger generation on there, I think you definitely are swapping out Stone Cold for Randy by far.
That's true.
Most definitely. So
I would do that.
And not only that, I think people might take off Undertaker if it's a younger generation and put on probably Jericho. He's definitely more main, he's 5 companies now, or 4 companies. He was in New Japan, AEW, no 5. New Japan, ECW, WCW, WWE, and AEW. So he's definitely surpassed. Like, he's somebody that could be named on there too, especially with the younger generation and hardcore fans. I mean, but if we wanted to do a young Mount Rushmore, that'd be so much fucking harder, because it's like you look at Ciampa, Gargano, Cross, like motherfucker, stop.
And then it's like for the younger generation, I would take off Lita, and you could put either Becky or Sasha on there for mainly for like mainly for Impact.
Sasha, as much as I love Becky, she would probably go over Becky because she actually has that Disney princess going on with the Star Wars.
I'd go Becky. So I have a big thing with first generation superstars who were able. Well, obviously Sasha. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Sasha, obviously, with Snoop Dogg being her cousin, plays a factor into how she got into the business. I respect the natural grind of like, you know, Becky. Oh, hey, look, I want to. I see Finn's running this wrestling camp, and I met Finn there. Stuff like that. But so overall, I'm assuming. So since with everyone's picks, we went Lita, Undertaker, John Cena, Eddie, Stone Cold, with Randy Orton coming in at 6, and the person who's chiseling it is Vince McMahon. Correct.
Correct.
Scott, yeah.
Okay, which is nothing wrong with that. All right, Joe, if you want to wrap us up.
All right, so we usually wrap up with a quick would you rather. How this works is we'll put 2 scenarios on there, and
Super quick,
you just answer what you prefer, and that's really how it goes. So I'm gonna start off with the first one. My first one would be: would you rather be world champion in your career, or have your finisher never kicked out of?
Finisher never kicked out of, because that's more mystique.
Kayla?
I'll have to go with the finisher, never kick out of. I think that would be really cool.
Kate?
It's Kat.
Kat.
I'm not trying to disagree with y'all because y'all are my girls, y'all are my sisters and everything, but I'd go world champion because it's like, yeah, you'll end up eventually losing it unless you go on like amazing runs and everything like that. But it's just like when you get into like this business and everything, you want to get to like the top echelon and everything, and it's like, and so it's like for me, it's the world champion.
I respect that. So then I'll give you my would you rather. Would you rather be thrown in the Hudson River? All right, that's what was the river that
Long Island Sound.
Long Island Sound, or take a stink face from Rikishi?
Stink face. Look, I live near the Delaware River. I live near all those refineries. They smell worse than Rikishi's ass does. And I know he baby powders his ass if he liked you, and I would make the man love me. So he would make sure it smelled like fucking roses. So I'm taking a stink face.
A lot of crabs in the Delaware River.
Based on everything she just said, I'll go with stink face. Ugh.
I know I could swim, but I think I'll go with stink face too.
Yeah, you guys don't live near the Long Island Sound. When you drive past that, oh my God.
Nah.
We live right there.
Else.
Danny? Right, Danny, you up?
Would you rather take thumbtacks, or would you rather get thrown off Hell in a Cell?
Thumbtacks. Thumbtacks. I have a bad back and bad knees, so thumbtacks.
Thumbtacks. Actually, wait, no.
Uh-oh. Seriously?
See, this is all good.
Look, here's the thing. You'd be immortalized if you get thrown off the Hell in a Cell. So I would do the Hell in a Cell.
Okay,
I would get thrown off.
Mick Foley.
Well, would you? Because Undertaker didn't recognize Mick Foley at his speed.
But what is Foley known for? He's known for getting thrown off the Hell in a Cell and having his...
Yeah.
So
yeah, not just making it.
What is one of Shane McMahon's constant thing that they show him elbowing
leaping,
off the Hell in a Cell? Hell in a Cell is just, it's something mystique, and you have this, like, you know, if you get thrown off it or you jump off of it, it's just, you're a fucking badass. So yeah, I hate thumbtacks.
Kayla?
I'll take a mean thumbtack spot.
Yeah, take one right up the ass and let me know how it feels, buddy.
I did. My brother used to put me through some fucking thumbtacks sometimes.
That's I don't lie.
You used to put the shit on the ground, shut the light, walk in.
You never stepped on them though. I let Kayla answer.
I'd soak in the moment, get thrown off a Hell in a Cell. I might break some bones and some backs and stuff, but at least I'll be relaxed and not have to go to Let Your Luck. So I think I'd be good.
So that's our game of Would You Rather. The questions change all the time, but these have been these are our original classic 3 questions that we had come up with on the spot. So we figured we'd give you guys those. So Joe, if you want to take it away.
All right. So again, I know it's been a long episode for you guys. Quick minute, where can people find you? What's next for the Queen's Takeover? This is your moment to, plug your channel. Let's hear it.
All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at QT Bow Down. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. Our new episodes drop every Tuesday. You can find we're completely audio right now, so you can find them on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google. I think that's it. And I'm not sure when this episode drops, but our next episode will, of course, drop on Tuesday. We just had a very fun episode with the Jester Challenge that featured these guys. And yeah, that's about it. And it's just like you'll never know what comes out of our mouths.
All right. And is there any last closing words you guys want, or you guys all set? Or you girls all set, I should say. Gals.
Jolie, I actually forgot to mention this on our show since we brought it you brought her up earlier and we just did a plug and everything. One person I would love for you to take the challenge against would be Steffi Hypes.
I'd be all for having Steffi Hypes on the show again. I would love to take the challenge with her because I think she's probably one of the greatest internet wrestling community members. Never says a negative thing about anybody unless you come after her, and she just constantly has love for everybody, and is probably one of the biggest Becky Lynch stans ever. But one thing for me, I am now running the EDFS Pop Culture Twitter, so come check that out. I'm going to be pumping out a lot more content. It is Asian American and Pacific Islander month, so I'm going to be highlighting an actor, actress, somebody famous every day. Today I did Ming-Na Wen because she is Fennec and from Star Wars, Agent May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So check that out, and hopefully we'll get this live. The Queen's going live on YouTube eventually. I'm still working shit out, and also hopefully getting my own solo podcast out. So we'll see what happens.
What about you, Kayla? Do you have anything going on? I know you have a lot of projects you're working
on. First of all, Kat, get in touch with Steffi. I think that'd be a great next challenge. For those don't know,
I'm sending that one out, by the way.
Go ahead and get it sent out. I am, if you guys haven't heard of it, I am the COO/wrestling department head manager for the everydayfan.com, which is sports articles like Jolie mentioned, and also has pop culture. She's part of that. And also started a new thing called Create Your Story. It's also on Twitter. Trying to build that, it's kind of like stories if people never heard of, inspirational things I'm trying to aim for, kind of help me find, the love for writing, because I love to write. Just trying to build different things and, bring the momentum and, creativity and stuff. So, other than that, it's been great being on the podcast. I really enjoyed this with you guys. So
thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime.
coming around. So, that's been it. It's been the Bump Boys with the Queen's Takeover, and we're out.
Peace.
Must bid you adieu, a goodbye, mwah, and good night. Oh my God, it's so great. Bang!